All right, this update is brought to you by Progressive. It's opening day. Padres and Braves 1:10 first pitch at Petco Park. Here is today's lineup for the Padres. Fernando Tatis Jr. is leading off. Luis Arraez hitting second. Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts hitting fourth today. Jackson Merrill hitting fifth. Yuli Gurriel is the DH. Jake Cronenworth. Brandon Lockridge gets the start in left field, and Elias Diaz is behind the plate for the Padres, and this update has been brought to you by Progressive.
All right, back with you. Sidebar downtown opening day is just about 90 minutes out. The sun is peeking through the clouds here in downtown San Diego. We are here until 2 p.m., so we've got you covered, leading you up to opening day. Now, there is an update here on Yu Darvish that has just come in from AJ Cassavell within the last 3 or 4 minutes, Jim.
Yeah.
And the update from Cassavell is this. I'll read it word for word. Positive day for Yu Darvish yesterday, according to AJ Preller. Darvish played catch for the first time after a brief shutdown. He's going to keep playing catch and stretching out, but there is no timetable for a return to the mound. So he is throwing. He has not been fully shut down. They have the benefit of being cautious. The year is long. I mean,
Yes.
They don't need him to throw 200 innings. He didn't even throw 100 innings a year ago. We've touched on this. Maybe he gets ramped up the way some of these Dodger pitchers in recent history have been ramped up. I don't know if you can afford to do that. Can you afford to wait on Yu Darvish? Can you afford to be overly cautious, saying that he's more important in the second half of the year than the first half of the year? But then again, you got to make sure you can get to the second half of the year where those games matter, right?
Yeah, I am 100% okay with Yu Darvish missing the start of the season as long as he is healthy at the end of the year.
Right.
You know, like I'm cool with that. We know that he'll never probably have a season again where he goes and has 30 starts and 190 innings, and that's not going to happen. So if Darvish can give you 20 to 25 like really solid quality starts, then that is great news for the Padres. And as long as he's healthy, that's good. Obviously, the worst case scenario is like structural damage, Tommy John, those things. But as of right now, I mean, sounds like it's a good update from Darvish and that this might have been precautionary.
Yeah, hopefully it is. I mean, that would be so critical. I mean, you just think about what Yu Darvish means to a team. I mean, the successes he's had in a Padres uniform and elsewhere, some of the years he's had for the Padres, I just can't envision him not playing an important role. I mean, could it be overcome if you didn't have him in a worst-case scenario? Yeah, I guess it could. You've added Nick Pivetta. You've got some of the best pitchers in the National League and Dylan Cease and Michael King, but you'd hate to go through a season where you just didn't know if you're going to get it.
It's opening day at Petco.
Remember that? I mean, it was not like
Look at that 2025 season.
Musgrove. He'd have a good start or two, then he was shut down. And then he was pitching really well, and then all of a sudden it was Tommy John. I hope we're not talking about Yu Darvish's health all season long this year for the Padres.
I hope to. Whoa, there we go.
A little windy out here.
A little windy. Yeah.
Remember what we read yesterday in the UT, that sometimes early in the year it can be windy.
That's right.
And then it's hard to hit a home run.
That's right.
Can you flip us on the screen so it looks like I'm looking at you?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've already had other issues.
Yeah.
Why can't I talk about that on there?
It's a joke. Anyway.
But we just don't want to
be weather. It's cloudy and windy and marine layer.
Yeah, a little bit of that could be a factor. But no, I mean, the idea that we don't want to spend the whole year talking about Darvish's health. No, but sometimes it happens in starting pitching, unfortunately.
It is, yeah. And the thing about last year's team is how they only had 8 starters for the entire year. That's kind of unheard of, right? So how is that going to be at the end of this year? Are they going to have
how many starters?
How many starters they're going to have, right?
Good question.
And I think if you have between 8 and 12 guys that start for you in a season, you're probably pretty good off.
12's a number.
It's a number.
I mean, 12's a number.
Okay, fine. How about
maybe 8 and 10? Yeah, 8 and 10. I agree with you on 8 because they rotated through that 5th starter. Waldron ultimately wasn't effective. So they went to another starter, no issue. And then Musgrove had arm issues. So they yo-yoed guys like Randy Vasquez or Johnny Brito throughout the course of the year. But, again, starting the year with Darvish on the IL, is it ideal? No, but you know what's a lot worse? Ending the year with you, Darvish, on the IL. That would be a lot worse than Darvish starting the year on the IL.
I agree. I think keeping him healthy is a big priority, and I think that starting the year on the IL, it's okay as long as it's just like kind of precautionary and it doesn't turn into a 2 or 3 month type of thing where we're asking every week, what's the update on Darvish? What's the update on Darvish?
Do you think we touched on this earlier when our equipment was like falling off a cliff and we couldn't hear each other?
Right.
On a scale of 1 to 10, are you surprised Luis Ariz is not leading off today? Like, is that surprising to you, like a 10 or not? I mean, he was slated as the leadoff hitter basically every single time he was in there for the Padres last year, wasn't he? Did he not bat leadoff for the Padres last year at some point?
I can't remember.
I thought he was just basically their leadoff hitter. Remember, there's all this talk about, Jurickson Profar's doing so great.
Right.
Maybe he's got to hit leadoff. And then opening day, Tatis is leading off. Is it because it's Sale?
Probably.
That's probably why, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then that makes a lot of sense.
Like we talked about yesterday, that having a lefty on the mound,
and a darn good one,
the reigning Cy Young Award winner, the lineup's going to probably be a little funky because they have a lot of Merrill, Cronenworth, Ariz, Hayward, Gavin Sheets. They have 5 lefties right there. So those guys will probably be in the lineup when there's a righty on the mound. But when there's a lefty on the mound, everything kind of flips everywhere. Because right now, Jackson Merrill has been vaulted up into the top end of their lineup this year. He's not going to be hitting 7th anymore. He's going to be hitting 3rd or 4th, right? So you also have a Luis Ariz at the top there. You have 2 lefties in your first 3 batters, like against a lefty. So switching it up here, and Bogart's hitting cleanup today. Like, okay, Gurriel's hitting 5th.
Yeah, is Gurriel batting 5th? I didn't think Gurriel was batting 5th. I thought Merrill was batting. It's Merrill.
Oh, sorry.
Merrill's batting 5th.
Sorry,
and Gurriel's batting 6th.
Got it.
How about this though? A year ago, Luis Ariz,
in
146 starts, led off 146 times in baseball.
Wow. That's
so. This is, I don't know the last time he didn't lead off in a game. You'd have to go back to at least 2023.
Yeah, and Tatis is the best leadoff hitter, one of the best leadoff hitters in the game when he is leading off. So I'm okay with it.
Do we have Eddie with us right now?
Okay,
What's
Eddie.
Wow. This is a true honor, guys.
To what do we owe this honor here today?
Obviously, I'm here for opening day, but really, I'm here to see.
For us?
I'm here to see you guys. You guys.
We heard, yes.
You guys are the show here in San Diego.
No, you're the show.
You're literally the show.
Different time slot, but
True.
no, I listen to you guys more than any other show because I'm driving around in the afternoon all the time. I got a little league practice going on, things like that. So I always have you guys on. I'm always listening to you guys.
I'm sorry.
Now I'm screaming most of the time at you guys.
Mostly me, right?
Mostly you because you're the idiot. But
I am.
no offense. But I love listening to you
Can
guys.
I say this, Eddie?
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate you saying that seriously about the show. Isn't it true that Jim has an amazing way of eliciting reaction from listeners? He just like immediately brings it out of you, right?
Listen. Longtime friend with this guy. He drives me insane. Absolutely drives me insane.
I feel the same way.
I've never seen anybody overreact more than this human being right here to anything. And we have a lot of similar tastes because I'm a big, nerd, Star Wars guy, Marvel guy.
So is Jim.
The things that he says makes me insane too. I got to call in. I got to call and tell Jim he's an idiot. But the guy lives and dies on every pitch. So, I mean, I don't know how he does that. I'm like worried about your ulcer. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Tomorrow at 2 p.m.
It's over. If
they lost this game,
we're done. Season's over, right?
Sell a team.
I mean,
what city would be hire everybody?
Right.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, man.
Burn everything. It's just.
Now, are you going in today to the
game?
Party?
I'm just here to hang, man. I want to be here, part of the vibe. I mean, there's nothing better than opening day. And so the game, whatever. I'm just here for a good time,
and
man.
he's just vibing with
That's
everybody.
it.
It's so funny because me and Jim, I'm like, listen, I like the vibe.
Yeah.
But truthfully, the second this game starts and like the first 2 Padres are retired, I'm gonna be like, this is unbelievable. I thought Ariz could hit. Like, he's 0 for 1.
They go down 1-0 in the first. You're like, why do I even watch this?
Michael King walks somebody? What the?
Yeah, we should.
That's not supposed to happen.
Don't re-sign this guy.
What do you expect for? I mean, this team. Listen, they didn't do a ton in the offseason, but they bring back a lot from a year ago, and they won 93 games, and they were in the postseason. So what do you expect?
There is something to being part of the faithful, and I do want to believe that this team has enough. And you look at these guys, and top to bottom, I was really trying to, figure out, okay, if we do this. I feel confident that we can do it. Listen, we're not catching the Dodgers. I think we're all agreeing on that.
Nobody's
catching
that.
the Dodgers.
Yeah.
It is we don't have $1 billion, in our starting lineup.
No.
But I think we have enough to get into one of these wild card spots. And really, that's all we're looking for. You get into the dance, anything can happen.
Yeah,
so that's all we're looking for.
Their top end of their roster is all really good.
They're all studs.
And yes, they are missing some pieces from last year's team. But
we were saying that going into last year.
Exactly. That's a great point.
Nobody thought Profar was going to do what he did.
Nobody did. We talked about this the other day. Like, their team last year had infinitely more question marks than this year's team. This year's team is pretty established. It's just there are pieces and holes, places where you're like, okay, that might come back to bite you a little bit here. This has got to be fixed and addressed in season. But overall, Jackson Merrill, we know dude's a stud, all-star, one of the best center fielders in the game. Michael King, we know, one of the best pitchers in the game. They didn't have Luis Ariz at the start of the season last year either. If Fernando Tatis Jr. can stay healthy, they have really good pieces. Yeah, they're not catching the Dodgers. Who cares?
But
right?
I think that was one of the key components. We didn't have certain pieces, but then what happened?
Yeah.
He found the pieces.
Yeah.
AJ Preller, obviously.
That's right.
And so, hopefully we're not going to be so far out of it, by the trade deadline that, we're not going to do anything and be sellers. That'd be the worst thing possible.
Right.
But if we're close and we hang in there, maybe he makes some moves and fills those holes and keep moving on.
The question is, to everyone's point, it's like, the top of their lineup's going to be great. It's what happens each and every night when 6, 7, 8, and 9 don't perform. And we'll see if that's the case or not. Again, to your point, a year ago, you didn't necessarily expect guys to come through that ultimately ended up coming through. If Yuli Gurriel, Jake Cronenworth, Brandon Lockridge, and Elias Diaz end up combining for 8 hits today, Pancho's going to win.
8 hits? Wow.
But if
that would be great.
Can you overcome that night?
So you've been here. How long have you been here, Tom?
30 years.
Okay, yeah. So you've been here forever,
Mhm.
right? And you've seen the highs and the lows.
Unfortunately,
right?
yes.
Yes. And, I don't know if you know this. This stretch that we're in, the last 5 years, is
Dynasty?
not Dynasty.
Okay.
Yeah, no World Series.
Okay.
yet. But did you know that this is the best stretch of Padres baseball in the last 5 years in the history of the franchise?
I mean,
Do you feel that?
to an extent,
Yeah.
We had that one, what was that, 2022, whatever, or whatever, 3. Yeah, not great. But it is nice to feel like we have a shot.
Yeah.
And that's all we're asking for as Padre fans. I just want to believe I have a shot.
Yeah.
And every time I turn the TV on, listen to it on the radio, whatever, I have a shot to win.
Yeah.
That's the best feeling in the world. And so, as long as they're competitive, I'm in.
Because you've been here through the Chargers here and then leaving. Don't you feel like the Padres have really taken over this town?
Look.
Yeah,
just
I know.
look around.
I know.
I mean, this place is
Inarguable,
insanity.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
insanity.
It's
Like,
unbelievable.
you did not see
No.
10
Padres
years ago
gear like this?
type of
No.
Padres gear everywhere around San Diego.
Nobody cares.
It has taken over the city.
And to be honest with you, that's not only the competitiveness of the team,
Yeah.
but the fact that when they went all brown,
yeah,
honestly,
And it's an
it
identity
changed the
thing.
game.
It's an
It
identity
changed the
thing.
game
Absolutely.
because
yeah.
everybody wants to wear it and everybody wants
Everybody
to
does.
be recognized, and it stands out. It's great.
On the day that I'm wearing the Navy.
Yeah, dude. I don't know what
Look,
happened
I like
here.
the 98.
I like the
the Navy
98
jerseys.
jerseys. They're good.
I do. I really do.
I was at the World Series Game 4. Unfortunately, we lost to the
Yeah.
Yankees, but
Yeah.
I was there, and I
Really?
Well,
back in
hopefully you're at Game 4 this year.
winning though.
Winning.
Yeah, okay.
Winning,
Well,
though.
hey, listen, I'll take a World Series.
No, come on. I'm tired of just getting there. I want to
No
win.
doubt, no
I
doubt.
want to win.
Eddie, great seeing you,
Hey,
man.
man.
Thanks for swinging
Thanks for
by.
yeah,
We
absolutely.
appreciate
Yeah,
the support.
appreciate it.
I'll
It
be,
was great.
I'll be screaming at the radio again.
I will
Yeah,
too.
great Eddie Papani
Yeah.
of the show.
You're
everybody.
welcome. You're welcome.
The show. All right, much more sidebar downtown San Diego opening day. Padres and Braves. We're getting you ready on Jon and Jim. Stay with us. All right, back with you. Sidebar, downtown San Diego. What are you pointing at me for? There's always something to do. I don't know. It's our YouTube stream. You tell me. You tell me. It's our Oh, you know what? Maybe I should start up my camera.
There you go.
There we go. Let me fix the camera. Where does this rank among? Okay, we've done a lot of remotes, right?
The last 2 opening days have been.
What happened? Last year's opening day was a
maybe
disaster.
it's a good omen because last year's opening day was an absolute train wreck.
They came back and won.
Yeah.
Now I wasn't there.
No, you weren't.
I was in Boston with San Diego State.
Yeah, maybe it's like a good omen where when
everything goes.
Yeah, when everything goes wrong, then everything goes right for the Padres.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think our listeners will take that. This show's an S show, and then the Padres win. I think it's better than this being the perfect show.
Everybody will take
and
that.
Losing 15-0.
Exactly.
I think people would take that.
I think they would too. Yes.
By the way, classy move by the Padres, who have left flowers in a press box seat for Bryce Miller, who recently passed away from the San Diego Union Tribune. We spoke on it a lot this week. I see Scott Miller has sent out a photo. I think Kevin Acee did as well.
Right.
Bryce Miller, really outstanding columnist, passed away from cancer within the week, age of 56. The Padres acknowledging that fact by putting white flowers in the press box by his seat, which is a very, very nice gesture by the Padres organization.
Yeah, it just makes you realize that there's more to life than just, baseball. So
is there, though?
Yeah, there is.
I know we get so carried away with
baseball is secondary to life, and it just reminds you, like Bryce and him passing away at such a young age. It's just awful, man. It's absolutely awful. But
we do get so carried away with it.
Yeah,
I mean, I get so into it.
Yeah,
but again, it's like, again, everyone has to each their own. It's like, the people that listen to us, I mean, you're into it. You know what I mean? Like, these games matter. And Bryce, spent his career obviously covering sports. Oh, yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk about it. So, okay, we're obviously downtown, so we have to park downtown. There are parking police everywhere, and Jim and I both are in 2-hour parking, and we both think we can extend our session online because that's what we did a year ago.
Right.
But it's not letting us extend our session beyond 2 hours. My guess is because it's opening day.
It wasn't like this last year.
Maybe I'll ask. Honestly, get off the mic a second and ask her why we can't do it. That's a fair question.
I got 4 minutes.
Yeah, but ask her why we can't extend it.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's a fair question.
I'm going to go ask her?
Well, she's walking. Yeah,
no. It's fine.
Oh, yeah, it's fine. It's
fine.
Ticket.
I'll just pay a fine of $700.
Well, first of all, I got the $500 ticket from blowing through the red light in Solana Beach.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
I'll add this $200. This is great. Let's just be ticketed all year long. Let's just lose money driving around town.
Can we expense it?
Talk to Mary. Maybe we should send Mary or Mike out to our parking meter.
I know. Well,
right?
If not, then I guess we're just gonna have to expense this thing.
You tell Aaron when Aaron says, "How come there's no money in our account?" Because I was opening day. I was opening
I had to pay
day.
a fine of like $1 million.
I thought about parking a lot, but you said, "Hey, good luck finding parking." I'm like, "There's so much parking."
I know.
So I'm like, "Oh, this is great," but I didn't realize I could only park there for 2 hours. Why can't I just extend it out? Why is it that if I leave, can I leave and come back and park in the same spot?
Well, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe once it expires, we can
try.
We can try it again. Okay. That's what I'm wondering. We'll try.
Oh, I know. Yeah, because I can't add. I don't know. It's a good question.
Figure it out.
Anyway, it is what it is. We'll pay a fine and we'll deal with it. The things we do for all of our listeners out there,
dude. We do a lot.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so again, Padres Braves game 1 of 162, game 1 of a 4-game series coming up at 1:10. Chris Hodge, by the way, he hit again last week when I was away, right? He had the over in San Diego State, North Carolina. Yes. He's on this ridiculous roll on his text line. And he's going to have more picks for us coming up at noon. By the way, you can hear the Sweet 16 this afternoon right here on San Diego Sports 760 beginning at 4 p.m. today and tomorrow. Yep. Sweet 16 after the Padres turn on the Sweet 16 right here on 760.
Yep, and then you hear the Elite 8 on Saturday and Sunday. We have SDFC on Saturday night, 7:30. So, yeah, it's a lot happening.
Yeah, there's a ton going on. There really is with, again, the Sweet 16 going on later on today and the Padres getting their season underway. Coming up at 1:10, you've got Michael King making the opening day start opposite Chris Sale. Padres won the season series from Atlanta last year. Do you remember that?
I do.
That's how they got No, that's not how they got home field. They did it by record.
Yeah.
They won the season series 4-3. They then swept Atlanta here in a best-of-3 series, 2 games to none. One of the big reasons why was Michael King.
Absolutely. The game one start for Michael King was phenomenal. And today should have been a rematch of game one from the Wild Card Series last year. But if you remember, Chris Sale, he was scratched because he was hurt. So he did not pitch in that series, didn't pitch game one. And you could look at the landscape of the National League this weekend. I know it's the first games of the year, but they're still important because of, like you said, tiebreakers and things at the end of the year, because the Braves are going to be a team that 100%, don't hang in, 100% will be, in the mix for a playoff spot this season.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we detailed it yesterday. There are 7 teams are at least good enough to get there.
Right.
And we gave you the 7. We included Arizona and San Diego along with the Dodgers, and then Philadelphia, Atlanta, New York, and then whoever wins the Central. That's 7 teams. The problem for those 7 teams is one won't make the playoffs.
Right. Yeah.
There's only 6 spots. Now, again, if you told me 6 out of 7 and the Padres are included, I feel good about that. Then I read ESPN.com, and they give the Padres a 44% chance of reaching the playoffs. So I don't really care about any of that. I don't care if they have a 40% chance or a 60% chance. I know they'll be in position. I know that late in the year they'll be in position to reach the postseason, so hopefully they can get there again. They have not gone in back-to-back years since when? Mid-2000s, right?
Yeah.
They went back-to-back years,
05,
05, 06.
05, 06, yeah.
So they haven't done it under Preller. But as you just told Eddie a few minutes ago, this is the winningest 5-year stretch in the history of the franchise. Kevin AC wrote about this yesterday in the UT. Man, Kevin has been writing, by the way, hasn't he, Jim? In the UT.
Well, that's his job, John.
I mean, he's really been writing. He's been writing a lot. I think there's a lot of optimism. You were able to extend the parking?
I was.
How did you do it?
As soon as it hit 0, I hit extend.
Okay, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that when it hits 0. So I like that.
There you go.
But Kevin has been writing a lot of, I think within the organization, there's a lot of optimism heading into 2025, and I think Kevin's been writing about it.
You think?
Yeah. I know he's been writing about it. I think there's a lot of optimism.
Everything is awesome. Everything is great. This team is great. Mike Schilt, great. Eric Grubner, great. Let's see what happens on the field.
Well, we always say that in February. Like, everything's great.
Everything's
these players
awesome.
are so good.
Yeah, look at
everything. Salas and Leo DeVries. These guys
Brendan
can't be
Lockridge is
stopped.
awesome.
Right, and then it gets to be the season, and we'll see if players perform.
Right.
Atlanta for 4, and then Cleveland for 3. Do you agree with what I said yesterday, that you take a winning homestand right here, 4-3? You sign up for that right now?
Dude, absolutely.
That's a good start to the year. If you get out of here 4-3, that's a really good start to the year.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, means maybe a split against Atlanta. Or, they don't have to play perfect, but if you go 4-3 here over these 7 games, that's a good start to the year.
Yeah, I agree. It's not going to be something where I look at after the first home series of the year, and they're 3-4.
Season's over.
I'm like, pack it up.
Right.
But I'm interested to see just how they get out of the jump here. How do they perform in the first month of the year? What are you looking at? That's interesting. What?
Yeah.
Say that on the radio.
What's interesting is, Jim and I have talked about this for a month, that how do sports teams interact with other sports teams on social media? Like, hey, San Diego State football, good luck, Padres. They did that today. The LA Clippers have wished the San Diego Padres good luck. Happy opening day. Good luck this season at Padres. Is it because they're G League affiliates in San Diego? That's really interesting. That is the actual Clippers account. That is really interesting to me. Is it not to you? It must be because the G League affiliate.
Interesting.
Happy opening day. Good luck this season, Padres. And then the Padres replied with their heart emojis. Interesting. Very interesting from the Clippers. All right, we'll kick off hour 2 on the other side. Chris Hodge taking Vegas will join us. He has free picks for our listeners coming up on the other side. That'll kick off hour 2. Again, the Padres will get underway at 1:10 this afternoon. It's opening day in San Diego. Padres and Braves. Michael King, Chris Sale on the other side. Chris Hodge taking Vegas. He's got free picks for our listeners coming up. It's Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Progressive. It is opening day. We are an hour out from first pitch, actually 1 hour and 10 minutes away from first pitch down at Petco Park. Padres and Braves. Michael King on the mound for the Padres against Chris Sale for the Atlanta Braves. This update has been brought to you by Progressive.
All right, San Diego, Southern California, what's going on? This is Hour 2, a special edition of Jon and Jim, an hour out from Padres getting their season underway against the Atlanta Braves. And always our pleasure to welcome back Chris Hodge from TakingVegas.com, who has been absolutely red hot on his text line right here on Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760. Before we get to anything, Chris, because I know you're a huge baseball fan, what is it like for you? The start of another season? I mean, the scene downtown in San Diego, you can only imagine, is incredible. How much are you looking forward to another baseball season here getting underway? Thanks for hopping on.
I'm not looking forward to it at all because I have a witch of a wife who's a Mets fan. And that means I'm going to have to deal with her. And she stole Juan Soto from us as the Yankees did from you guys. And I just have to deal with this woman. Same woman that Aaron Judge, when he dropped that ball in Game 5, she was walking around my house with a hard ball in her hand, throwing up in the air and breaking things on purpose. So this is what I have to deal with.
Other than that,
everything's great.
Everything's great. Hey, listen, the start of the baseball season's, the start of spring, basically, right? This is the unofficial start of spring. I know it was a week ago. But, man, there's nothing really better than MLB opening day. Everyone has hope unless you're the White Sox or the Oakland Athletics. So, besides that, it's always a great time of the year. And definitely looking forward to it. And last year when I was in studio, we had a nice little bet on the Padres to make the playoffs at plus 150, so that paid off, and we hope to have another good baseball season.
No doubt about it. All right, Chris Hodge, so listen to this. He's now 19-4-1 over the last 24 shows. That's about a half year worth of picks off the text line. Last week, in fact, I was in Dayton. He had the over in that San Diego State, North Carolina game, which did hit. So tell us about your free play here tonight, how our listeners can get it.
Yeah, and listen, 19-4-1 speaks for itself. The free pick tonight will be between Arizona and Duke. Great matchup there. They played earlier in the season. You can text the word win to the number 545454. Again, just text the word win, pull out your cell phone in the message box, type WIN, send it to the number 545454, and automatically you get a Sweet 16 release tonight between Arizona and Duke, and we'll look to make it 20 wins, 4 losses, and 1 push over the last 25 shows. So we hope to get that done for you guys.
Love it. All right, so entering into Sweet 16 action, Alabama and BYU. Can we break that down here for our listeners, Chris?
I actually think this is going to be one of the better games of the Sweet 16. I really think it's going to be a back-and-forth game. Both teams are very similar. Obviously, Alabama had a tremendous season, but so did BYU. I mean, if you look at the records, with the tournaments and everything involved, Bama's 26-8, BYU's 25-9. They're both very good shooting teams. They both have a decent guy that can cause some problems inside, and they both they're kind of the same on defense. So I think it's a very similar matchup. And when you have teams that are very similar and they do things, in the same light, I mean, when you're getting 4.5 to 5. You probably want to take the underdog there. BYU has proven to be a physical team. Obviously, Bama did very well in what was the toughest conference in America. So I think it's going to be a really, really good game. But I just think 4.5 with Bama is too much delay. I think BYU will be in that game. They'll have a shot to win the game outright. I think it's a tight game. So, like I said, when you get a situation like that, you take 4.5 and 5, and you take the underdog.
Yeah, BYU plus the points. They are playing incredible basketball over the last 4, 5, 6 weeks. Again, if you want Arizona Duke, you can just text the word win, WIN, to 545454. Again, win to 545454. Chris Hodge has that for you on a recorded line. All right, there's another game coming up tomorrow. Ole Miss in the Sweet 16. Michigan State, a 2 seed. What's your opinion here?
Yeah, this Big Ten has been playing really well in this tournament. And take nothing away from Chris Beard. He's done a tremendous job at Ole Miss. But he's not Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo is one of the top coaches of all time, even though he only has 1 championship. And it's hard to win championships. But, when you have, 4 or 5 days to prepare for this, I'm going to go with the better coach. And right now, Michigan State, I know they had that hiccup in the Big Ten tournament. Man, Michigan State has been one of the hottest teams in the country over the last 12 weeks, man, 3 months. This has been a very tough team to beat. They could shoot the three ball well. They could beat you inside. They play a good half-court game on offense. And we obviously know what they can do on defense. And like I just said, a couple seconds ago, I think Tom Izzo is just a better coach than Chris Beard. So laying 3.5 here at Michigan State, I actually don't think this is actually going to be a good game. I think Michigan State maybe starts slow. Maybe it's close the first 10 minutes. But as the talent disparity takes place, the coaching disparity goes on, I think Michigan State wins this game by double digits. I don't think it's going to be close when it's all said and done. And I think Michigan State gets to the Elite Eight with a win over Ole Miss.
All right, so it is opening day, Chris. We're down here at Sidebar on Market Street. So with that being said, any potential long shots this year in Major League Baseball?
I like one that's interesting, and it's a team that you guys are playing today, and it's not even a pitcher who's starting today, but Spencer Schellenbach, man, he's 50-1 to win the Cy Young. And he's a good young pitcher, man. And the Braves are going to be good. And look, anytime you use a bet like that, I'm on the radio right now telling you, that's not a bet you expect to win. That's a bet you take a shot with, and there is a difference, right? When you get those type of odds, you take a shot with it. That kid is a very good pitcher on a very good team, and when you get those odds, it's 50-1. Hey, man, you throw $100 on it, and you got a $5,000 flyer on what could pay off, as the season goes along, and, late July, August, September, you're like, man, this guy's sitting there with a 2.19 earned run average, and maybe he has a shot to win this for me. So I like that as a really good long shot, and I'll give you guys a couple to make the playoffs. The Guardians, man, they won that division last year, and that division is not good. Okay. Right. Minnesota stinks. The White Sox stink. White Sox might set a record for futility if they didn't already do it last year. Okay. Yeah, the Royals and the Tigers hanging around. I mean, not bad, but Cleveland won that division by 7 games last year, 6.5 games, whatever it was, because I think someone missed a game there. To be plus 145 to make the playoffs, that's a pretty good line right there for them when they won a division last year. And again, you know how I am. I don't say stuff like this because I'm actually on your station. But I think the Padres, again, they're even money to make the playoffs, man. I just, obviously, and I said this last year, and I caught a lot of flack for it on your station, believe it or not. I came on, I said they're not better than the Dodgers. We know that. And they are not better than the Dodgers this year. So as everyone out there wants to, tar and feather me right now for saying that, they're not better than the Dodgers. But they're better than everyone else in that division.
Yeah.
So, even money to take the Padres to make the playoffs when they made the playoffs last year, yeah, man, I think that's a good bet too. So I think those are 3 pretty good bets. One long shot, pretty decent size underdog with the Guardians, and even money with the Padres.
Well, it's amazing because, like you said, a year ago you had them at one point at plus 150, and they ended up winning 93 games. So they were comfortably in the postseason a year ago. And I'm with you. We broke this down yesterday, Chris. We had like 7 teams in the National League for 6 spots. It was the 3 in the East, Mets, Braves, Phillies. It was 3 in the West, Padres, Dodgers, and Diamondbacks, and then whoever wins the Central. But that's only 7 teams, and if 6 of them are making the postseason, I'll take even money, right, on the Padres.
Well, look at this, right? I know the Mets made the playoffs last year, but that's not a team or an organization. If my wife is listening right now, I can forget about getting any action tonight. But that being said, if they're not things go wrong for the Mets. They always have, right? So to make the playoffs 2 years in a row for that team, something's going to go wrong. And flat out, the whole Central stinks. I mean, the Brewers won that division with 93 wins last year, and the second-place team had 83 wins. That whole division is terrible. So to your point, 7 teams – there you go, and San Diego's certainly one of them.
No doubt. Chris, we're looking forward to opening day and baseball season, and then the Sweet 16 getting underway tonight. You can actually hear it on San Diego Sports 760. But again, for our listeners, if you want Arizona and Duke absolutely free, all you have to do is take out your phone right now, text the word WIN, W-I-N, to 545454. That's the word WIN, W-I-N, to 545454. And again, Chris has been red hot, had the over last week in the first 4 with the Aztecs. The Tar Heels 19-4-1 in his last 24 free picks on our show. Like you said, Chris, earlier, it speaks for itself, and we'll do it again next week as we get ready for, it'll be the Final Four the next time you join us, right?
Real quick, I have a customer out there. I told her I'd give her a shout-out today. This girl's been with me for 2 years now. Great girl. Her name is Karina W. I'm not going to give her last name out, but I know she's going to the game today, and she's probably right around where you guys are right now. So, Karina, want to say hello, and thanks for being a great customer.
Great stuff.
Love it.
Chris, we appreciate you. We'll do it again next week, all right?
All right, you got it.
All right, great stuff from Chris Hodge taking Vegas. You hear him on the weekends on San Diego Sports 760. I was driving to the gym on Saturday. I heard his show talking about the first and second round action. So, again, he's been awesome for our listeners. Just text WIN to 545454 if you want that Arizona and Duke game. Here we are, Jim.
Here we are.
We are an hour out, literally 1 hour out. The Padres and Braves will get underway at 1:10, and it's turned out to be a beautiful day in downtown San Diego.
Because driving downtown, I'm like, because I'm wearing a sweatshirt
I was
right
a little
now.
worried about
You're
the weather.
wearing a quarter zip.
Yep.
I was a little worried. I was like, it's going to be cold because, it's just cold at the start of the year at Petco. But it is a day game. And
there have been some beautiful opening days.
There
in
have
the last
been.
10 years, there have been some gorgeous days for the opener.
And this one is no different.
It's a pretty nice day.
I see a bunch of blue in the sky right now. It is going to be sunny. It's not going to be too hot. It's going to be perfect weather. I was a little concerned that there might be overcast, but it's perfect out. It's going to be great.
Now, remember what the UT said yesterday. It could be cool this weekend. And sometimes early in the season when it's cool, it's harder to hit a home run. Now, do you know what a home run is?
Hold on. So the ball has to go over the fence?
It doesn't, because if you run around all the bases before being tagged out, it also counts.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, did you realize that?
I didn't know that.
If you get to all the four of them, so the first one, the second one, the third one, the home one,
and they
don't tag you out.
You get a point.
You get 1 point.
Oh, you get a point.
So they might score a point today.
Love it.
Listen, I know the sun's out, and I know it's very comfortable, but you got elite pitching. I expect low-scoring game today. I would be shocked if it was 9-8. I'm expecting a low-scoring game. Score first, win the game. That's how I look at it. If the Padres score first, Michael King, your bullpen, Robert Suarez find a way to win. I think the team that scores first is likely the winner. Here today, I expect a 3-2 or 4-3 game.
Even though Chris Sale was dominant last year, won the Cy Young in the National League, as you pointed out yesterday, and we'll talk about that coming up next, there are some people in this lineup that have some really good numbers against Chris Sale. And maybe that plays into why the lineup is the way it is today, especially with Xander Bogaerts hitting cleanup, right? Interesting, like Tatis hitting leadoff. Maybe that's why the lineup is what it is today, is because you got some guys in this lineup that do have some really, really good numbers off Chris Sale, even though when he's on, he is the nastiest pitcher, one of the nastiest pitchers in baseball, and damn near unhittable.
And again, a big reason why maybe the Padres moved on is they didn't see a healthy Chris Sale last year in the postseason. We'll get into some of those numbers on the other side. Again, if you want to swing by and say hello on your way to the ballpark, first pitch, 1:10. We're at Sidebar Market Street. What's the cross street? 6th and Market. Here at Sidebar, we're just a couple of blocks away from Petco. It is a spectacular day. Temperatures in the high 60s for Padres and Braves. The 2025 season about to get underway. We'll get into some of that Padres success against Chris Sale on the other side. We're here until 2 p.m. Don't go anywhere. It's Jon and Jim. All right, back with you an hour out. Padres Opening Day 2025. And as you'd expect in downtown San Diego, the sun is peeking through. It's going to be a spectacular day for baseball. We're here at Sidebar until 2 p.m. It's our pleasure to have Paul Corvino with us, regional president.
Very special guest.
Very special guest, because he's basically our boss's boss.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you're like the boss, right? I mean, you're like the boss.
Yeah, we've all have. I've got my bosses.
You
too.
have a boss?
Yeah, he has a boss, but basically, if you wanted, you could be gone right now, John.
Well,
or you could be promoted.
Or promoted, yes.
Here's
depending on how this interview goes.
Here's my preference. Jim, we don't need him. I could use a promotion. I'm kidding. All right, Paul Corvino's with us. It's awesome to see you, Paul. We saw you in San Diego a couple of weeks ago with our staff here at iHeart San Diego. How fun is this? I mean, as a baseball fan, is there anything better
I'm
than
down
this?
here before a Padres game with John and Jim. It doesn't get any
It
better.
doesn't get better
than
than this. No, right?
I love the vibe in the town.
Yeah.
When you're in bigger cities, I'm in New York most of my life. I live in LA now, and in bigger cities, people get excited for their teams, but it's very different when you have a city around the size of San Diego. You just see it here, you feel it. Everyone knows it's opening day.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and we were just talking about this off the air. 10 years ago, this was not like this downtown, and now this has become the event of the city. Just talk about seeing just everywhere you look, you see Padres fans, right? Yep. And for that, doesn't it just make you excited to be in a city that
I came down here.
Like this?
I left LA to come down here. I was invited. We have, we broadcast the other team in Southern California.
Right.
I've got press credentials. I've got the suite. We've got dugout seats. I chose to come down here.
How cool is that? Seriously, that's super cool.
He came down because of our great party. We have an amazing party here at Sidebar on Market Street downtown, just a couple blocks away from Petco Park.
And being a New Yorker, us with San Diego right now, we've got something in common against that other
we
Southern California team.
There's no doubt about it.
No, we don't.
So, I mean, there's just something about of all the sports, baseball when it starts. You know what I mean? Like a football season starts, sure, we're all watching on television, or an NBA season or hockey. There's just something about baseball that is truly unique.
It's nostalgic.
Yeah.
It's family.
Yeah.
It's community. More so than any other sport, I think. I mean, you get excited for the big football season and the game, but there's nothing like opening day for baseball season.
And there's nothing like opening day at Petco Park. You've been to Petco Park a couple times. You give us, your thoughts on the Petco Park.
I've taken my kids there when they were young.
Yeah.
They used to sometimes come down just to visit. We had relatives that lived in the Omni.
Uh-huh.
My cousins lived there, and they overlooked the park. We would come down, and they'd be in that other park, I guess, just waiting for a home run to be hit.
Yeah,
they could possibly get a ball.
Yeah,
and it's exciting. It's just a great environment. Really great family environment, a great fun environment, a great drinking environment.
It's definitely a very good drinking environment.
Now, Paul, you'll be inside today? Are you heading into the game? Or are you hanging out for this party? Or what are the plans?
I think I'm going to stop in and catch a few innings.
You're going to catch a few innings?
Before I head
that's
back.
great.
Are you heading in, Jim? We haven't even talked about this.
I am not heading in. No, I'm going this weekend.
Okay.
But because we're here until 2.
Yep.
So I think I'll be watching this game at home today. I've been to 10 opening days.
I've got a Zoom meeting at 4:00. So let's see.
To talk about our Rays. No. Exactly.
No doubt about it. All right, Paul Corvino with us right now. Again, we're downtown at Sidebar. It doesn't get better. It really doesn't. It feels like the postseason a little bit in San Diego. We've been down here a lot for the postseason.
Yeah.
Shoot, you mentioned that other team up north. We've seen a lot of that team and this team over the years in the postseason. I wonder if we'll be trending for something like that again in 2025.
I think there's a very good possibility.
Yeah, and you being up in LA, like we down here, we view it as a rivalry. We definitely view it as something that has created over the last 5-6 years, where they've met in the postseason 3 times now. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the view of the Padres from up there.
There's the other long-term rivalry with another California team, a little further north, with the one in the other Southern California team. But I think over the last few years, because of the talent level, that the rivalry is getting strong. I mean, I was at a few of those games.
It gets heated. It definitely gets heated.
It gets heated.
What's your 2 cents on spending in baseball, the way the Dodgers have done it, right? They've won, but obviously they've spent, and they've doubled down in spending. There's no salary cap in the sport of baseball. What's your thought on that?
Being a New Yorker and growing up on the George Steinbrenner years, I never complained about spending.
Yep.
but now they're getting outspent.
Isn't that amazing? The Yankees get outspent.
I know.
They get outspent in their own city by the Mets. It's unbelievable.
But I do like the international flair. I do like the fact that my streaming numbers, for example, in Japan,
they're
for
really
the other team are through the roof.
Oh my gosh.
I've got a tremendous Tokyo audience,
Yeah.
and that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, we see it. It's definitely the game has gone international.
100%. Paul, before you go, because you do this for a living. We just talk on the radio. I mean, from a radio perspective, the power of sports radio, because you've spent your career and a lot of time with some of these sports stations. What is the power between Sports Talk host and its listeners when it comes to Sports Talk radio?
I think the key to sports is actually in sports radio, because that's where the real fans go. They talk, they have their debate.
Yeah.
That's where you really learn about the team. As a kid growing up, listening to Michael Kay in New York, and and Phil Rizzuto and the guys that were on their talk shows, you'd listen and you would hear the arguments, the back and forths, who to trade, who should be there. People, they get to let their passion out on talk radio.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key. They'll call you. These people are going to be passionate. They're going to let you know how they feel about this. I mean, I'm in LA. I get phone calls from LeBron because they didn't like the way some of my guys were talking about him and his son, Bronny. And so you know that you're having an effect. The players know what's going on. It's a way for the fans to communicate with the players and management. And I think you can't get that anywhere else.
No doubt.
And that makes it grow, and then it becomes viral. And as you know, radio is the biggest form of media there is. 9 out of 10 people. We reach iHeart. We reach 274 million people every week, more than Google, NBC, CBS, Facebook. So there's no greater way to reach the masses than through radio. And so to reach the baseball audience, it's through radio.
Yep.
And it's that communication, that relationship. Well, what we sell in radio is the relationship between you, the on-air talent, and our audience. And that relationship resonates and gets excitement for the team. It gets conversations started about the team. And believe me, management, players, coaches, they're listening to.
I'm going to start telling people 274 million people listen to Jon and Jim. You hear that?
I like that that right there. Yeah.
Paul, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much,
Good
guys.
to see you in San Diego.
Yes.
Go Padres.
Go Padres. That's
love it.
well said. All right. We are at Sidebar here downtown San Diego, here until 2 p.m. Padres and Braves coming up in about 45 minutes or so. We will react to some of the Padres' successes against Chris Sale. On the other side is Jon and Jim.
All right, this update's brought to you by Staples Stores. We are about 40 minutes away from first pitch at Petco Park. Braves and Padres opening day. Look at the Padres lineup today against Chris Sale. Little different than we're normally expected. We have Fernando Tatis Jr. leading off. Luis Ariz hitting second. Manny Machado hitting third. Xander Bogaerts is the cleanup hitter today. Jackson Merrill. Yuli Gurriel is the DH. Jake Cronenworth at second. Brandon Lockridge gets the start today in left field. And Elias Diaz behind the plate catching Michael King. And this update's been brought to you by Staples.
All right, back with you less than an hour out. Padres and Braves opening day. There's only one of these, Jim. Did you realize that? That's a Jim fact. There's only one opening day per year. Did you know that? We got Frankie V, Channel 933, with us right now. Loyal Padre fan. Good to see you, man. How are you, dude?
Good to see you guys. How amazing is San Diego that it is?
It's the best.
We're right here on a Main Street, Market Street. We're at a fun bar, and we're getting ready for.
I've been talking about this all day, Frankie. Yeah. You know, opening day here in San Diego now has turned into like a must, like an event.
So we're talking about this morning on Channel 933. We're saying how 80% around are not going to work today. You look at how many people will be in the ball game, how many bars are going to be packed, how many people just said, you know what, we're taking a half day or not going. It may be as big as, if not bigger than the Super Bowl is opening day for the Padres here in San Diego.
Oh, absolutely. And plus now there's no, NFL team in town. Everywhere you look, everyone's wearing Padres gear. And that wasn't like this 10 years ago.
And it's so funny because even if you're not a Padres fan, you came from another city and this, that, you want to be a part of the party.
Absolutely.
And you're still wearing the merchandise. I got the new store all set to go. I mean, I just feel like this is a vibe this year, and it has become this, I said, the past 5 or 6 years.
Now you're a passionate fan, right?
I am.
We've broken down Padres with you over the years.
We have.
How do you feel? I mean, last year was a really good year until it wasn't, the way it ended. So how do you feel heading into this year?
So, I feel confident. What I like is their lineup. Obviously, you guys are just running it down. It's amazing. Like, from top to bottom, we're looking good. We want you, Darvish, back. You guys talk about that. Once that happens, I think we're good. And we're talking to Chris Conley, the marketing guy. We're saying how Jackson Merrill last year was supposed to be good, but he became amazing. I mean, he's a top ball player, 21 years old. Yeah. And if nothing else, he makes it exciting. Him and Tatis make this lineup exciting, Machado. I'm confident this year, but again, last year we were confident till we weren't. I don't want to jinx anything, but I feel going into opening day like we got a squad.
Yeah, and especially coming off of the heartbreak of last year against the Dodgers. I feel like there's this mindset going around here, and you've heard it with the team talking before opening day. This unfinished business type of mentality. Just getting back to the postseason has to be the main goal, and getting past the Dodgers obviously is going to be a tough task, but when you look at the landscape of baseball in the National League, I mean, they have a really good chance to make the postseason, I feel like.
They really do. And here's what I love. Growing up in Boston as a kid, it was the Yankees and Red Sox. You had that battle. You mentioned the Dodgers last year, that fall through where they unfortunately beat us. I love the fact we have the 5. You go up north a few miles and there's LA. Like that battle feels good.
It's a true rivalry.
It is. And I feel like this year, though, we're going to be right in the mix of things. You just mentioned, I think, the NL West. There's no reason why we can't just take business. But again, I don't want to jinx anything. I do feel like last year we jinxed it. We got real excited, and then we got real.
Well, they're the World Series favorites, up 2-1, and then they lost last year.
They won. Yeah. You guys talk about it a lot, Frankie and Gina, in the mornings. Yeah. Are you talking Padres, or once you get into the postseason, or how much time do you spend on it?
There's two different things we talk about. Obviously, today we talked heavily about the things to do for Padres opening day. I work with Gina, also Angie. We talked about the players that look good. Jackson Merrill's a stud, and Manny Machado when he gets up. And
that's like our show.
Yeah. So we bring up that part, and I'm the sports guy on the show, so I'll try to talk about it, but it's so funny because, like, Chris, a producer, is not the biggest sports fan, so I almost have to break it down as if it's like T-ball mentality. I'm explaining what happens. So we do talk about it, and of course, when they're winning, we get behind anything that's happening in San Diego, and we love seeing the Padres do well.
So what are some things that you broke down this morning about doing on opening day around San Diego?
Opening day, we mentioned don't try to drive downtown. I actually did, and it was a miserable thing. Obviously you can take the public transportation. It's going every 15 minutes. We talked about that. We shouted out our Uber drivers, our Lyft drivers, because they're making life a lot easier.
It's a big day for them. Yeah,
it's a big day, and they say, big thing we said is if you don't have any tickets to the game, don't worry about it. Every bar downtown is going to be packed.
Exactly.
and it's going to be a party. And the other thing is, because we do have a lot of females that listen in, we mentioned the bag situation. You can't walk in with them big old bags thinking you're getting in. They're going to send you right.
The clear, small bag.
Ones, yeah.
I'll tell you, man, every year in the East Village, it's almost like more impressive.
Yes.
It is a remarkable experience down here. Like you can't go more than like 20 feet without walking into a bar or restaurant. To your point, you don't have to have a ticket because you can watch the Padres in like 2,000 different spots.
For sure. And the fact that we're in a nightclub right now, Sidebar is
exactly
like the epic nightclub in San Diego. But no, we're having a daytime party. You guys are broadcasting live. We have iHeart people and clients inside and friends and people that are here. So that's San Diego for you. Nightclubs become daytime bars during the Padres season. And of course, the gas level is a good time.
Love it. So what's Frankie's plans for today as far as watching the game, or what you got going on today, man?
So I got lucky. One of my buddies has a suite for the game, and he offered to get me.
Nice. Look at this.
But again, I would be at home watching it. Otherwise, or at one of these bars, not there. So when you get that little text message from a buddy, hey, we just the answer was yes.
Yep.
So I know
that. Yeah.
I'm going solo to a buddy. Wow, Gina, my coach, was like, who are you going with to the game? I'm like, it doesn't matter. My buddy invited me. I am walking to Petco Park by myself, going into the suite and having some fun.
I feel like you're a lot like us, where I'm always working like nights and weekends covering games.
Yeah.
You're always working nights and weekends, though, right?
7
you always
days
have
a week.
events, right?
I always have events. I have a home studio, which is great. And I get to be heard in multiple cities across America. And but it's not work. Like, we love what we do. Like, are you guys working right now? You're sitting outside in a 65, 70-degree day at Sidebar downtown. So I'm busy doing stuff, but it's fun. And I love that opening days here, man. As a kid growing up, this was like I said, this is like the Super Bowl of baseball.
Yeah, it is.
My man, Frankie, thanks for swinging by. Frankie V,
my
Channel
man.
933 with Gina. You can hear him in the mornings on 933. Looking forward to it, man. Enjoy the game.
Can we get a selfie?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, go selfie. I'm with these famous guys over here.
Love it, man. We appreciate you.
We made the selfie for Frankie. Yes.
Dude, I need to learn about Instagram from Frankie V. Now,
Dude,
I use Twitter obsessively.
Yeah.
Your business is on Instagram, right?
Instagram and TikTok. I got to get better on X and Twitter. I mean, I post, but I feel like you guys have the passionate fans that are like reposting your stuff. I post to X, Twitter, and say, hey, Rihanna did something. They're like, cool, don't care, Frankie. So I got to get better at engaging there. Instagram, it's all about, those
Dude,
cool
Instagram is crazy engagement.
It is. It's a side job in itself. But
it really is. It's a hustle.
Good seeing you, my man.
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate
Frankie
it,
V, Channel 933.
Love it.
All right, what were you saying? It's been 20 minutes now, but about the success the Padres have had against Chris Sale. We thought Machado has really had success against Sale. Who else do we say? Did we say Bogarts?
Bogarts has done really well against Chris Sale. Manny Machado has done really well against Chris Sale.
Those are the two.
Yeah, there's no coincidence that they're hitting 3-4 in the lineup today.
True. Good point. Toddy's homered off him. He's 1 for 6.
Hitting lead off today.
Yeah, but he's homered off him, which is good.
Yeah, so that's kind of the extent why. Of it. That's probably why the lineup is what it is today. And you're right. It is the extent of the success against Chris Sale.
100%. All right. So Chris Sale, Michael King. The last time we saw Michael King against the Atlanta Braves, you may recall, he struck out 14.
Is that good?
And he did it in how many innings? 7 and 2/3 or something. He didn't go. It wasn't a complete game, so it was ridiculous.
Off the top of my head, I can't.
I'm going to say 14 strikeouts in 7 innings, but it might have been 8. But it was ridiculous. I'm going to pull up his game log. I mean, it was unbelievable what he did last year. This was Michael King last year against Atlanta. Here it is. He went 7. Why do I keep saying this? That he struck out 14 when he struck out 12.
You've been saying 14
forever, for like all offseason.
I thought it was more than
7 innings, 5 hits, no runs, no walks, 12 strikeouts, which is good. It's a nice night, but 14 sounds so much better, doesn't it?
It really does.
I'm just going to keep saying 14.
Just say 14. No one's fact checking you, not even me.
Do you remember? And then he made 1 out against the Dodgers. But dude, that start October 1st against Atlanta, Game 1.
Yeah,
4-0 Padres win. That was a good day.
It was. It was a good day.
I'd sign up for that.
I would. Everything felt so good after that day.
We were downtown, weren't we?
We were. And then you get to Game 2, and then Joe gets injured, and you're like, of course. But they won, so that's great.
I mean, everything was going swimmingly until it wasn't. In the Dodgers series, it was awesome.
I know.
Game 3 was great.
Yeah.
Right? They were winning, and it was 2-1, and then it wasn't so great. But, again, we're downtown. People are beginning to make their way in.
Yes.
30 minutes out. We've seen so many Padres fans. I mean, just everywhere you look on what has turned out to be just a special day. It is gorgeous outside. It's comfortable. It's probably high 60s. It's just that quintessential San Diego day. The light wind, high 60s, sunny. Padres baseball. It doesn't get better.
Does not get better. We are inching closer and closer to first pitch today at Petco Park, and must-win game, John?
Well, I think that you could argue it is. I think you could easily make that argument. But I know this: win or lose, they'll play 161 afterwards. Both of these teams, win or lose, have a lot of games afterwards. But
you know who also has let's see here, some good success against Chris Sale is Jose Iglesias.
What's he done?
In his career, he's hit 306 and 36 at bats off of Chris Sale.
36 at bats. Wow.
Yeah, Yuli Gurriel, small sample size, 8 at bats against Chris Sale. Hit 375 against him. And of course, Manny Machado hitting 348 against Chris Sale. But that's it, really. I mean, Luis Arraez, not much, only hitting 222 against Chris Sale lifetime. But Xander Bogaerts, Yuli Gurriel, Jose Iglesias, and Manny Machado all have some pretty good numbers off of Chris Sale lifetime.
All right, so let's see if that continues here today. And again, today's one of those days where I'm not worried about, man, they got to find a way to score 6-7 runs. I mean, not with Michael King. I think score a couple of runs, and hopefully you can hold on to that lead because you've got King and you've got your bullpen here in San Diego. We'll take a timeout. We're here until 2 p.m. By the way, if you missed our conversation, it was 2 days ago now with Brian Dutcher with the transfer portal open. Once this Padres game gets underway, you'll hear from Dutch coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. But we've got you covered as we get you ready for opening day in downtown San Diego. Padres and Braves in 30 minutes. We're at Sidebar. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right, back with you. Padres, Braves, opening day, 25 minutes out. A lot of people making their way in. We're at Sidebar, which is at 6th and Market. We'll be here until 2 p.m. We'll have full reaction, by the way, tonight for you on the wrap-up show on YouTube at 9:30. Hopefully talking about a joyous opening day like last year when we were downtown and the Padres came back against the Giants to win last year. It feels like they played the Giants on opening day like 100 straight years.
Yeah.
This year it'll be the Atlanta Braves in what could be a playoff preview or certainly a rematch of the postseason last year. We know that.
When's the last time, because I was thinking about this today, when's the last time the Padres open up their season on the road?
That's a really good point. I feel like it's been like 7 or 8 years.
Because I feel like every year, I'm not counting Seoul, Korea last year.
Yeah.
It feels like every year for the last handful of years, they've opened up here at Petco Park.
Kind of makes sense. If you're going to open in March, this would be one of the places you want to make sure the team is at home.
Right.
Because you probably can avoid weather. Like if
Good
I'm doing
point.
Cubs, Padres, I mean, they better be playing the series in San Diego.
Right, yeah.
Although I think the Padres are in Chicago next week. Are they? I don't know.
They are in Chicago.
Yeah, I
next
think
week,
they're
yeah.
in Chicago. So that's a really good point, though. It does feel like they've opened at home a lot. Like
last year they
7,
opened
8
at
years
home.
in a row.
I want to say 2022 they opened up at home. Could be wrong, but it feels like they have opened up at home for the last handful up on the road.
They were at home in 2023 too. I just looked.
Yep.
So yeah, it's been a while. But again, I mean, they should play every game here. Throw out the rules. They could play 162 at home. Who cares about the other teams? I mean, you got half these teams playing in minor league stadiums this year.
Yeah, I know. You got 2 teams playing at minor league stadiums. That's a joke.
We should have played yesterday the Colin heard with Rob Manfred about like everything is great. I mean, if you would have heard Colin yesterday with Rob Manfred, you think
I heard a
baseball
little bit
is
of it.
better. You think it's bigger than the NFL right now?
Yeah, probably.
Everything's great. The pitch clock. Oh, look at this. Mike Usher. No, this must just be their home openers, right?
Yeah.
Look, every home opener they played at home, going all the way back to 69. I appreciate it.
1969?
Every home opener
Wow.
has been played at home.
That is crazy.
That's amazing. I'm glad I actually didn't fall for it. Like, look, they played at home since '69. They played on the road. They've definitely been on the road before. The question is, when's the last time that they opened on the road? Anyway, Rob Manfred with Colin Cowherd. Colin says it's great because the pitch clock has worked because Shohei's a star, and people love teams in big markets. So everything's great because you got the Yankees are really good, and the Dodgers are really good, and the Mets are spending money. So everything's great with the sport. Would you agree with that? The big markets are thriving.
I heard that argument from Colin, and I actually completely disagree with him.
Yeah, obviously.
Colin is coming from a place, I was thinking about this. He's coming from a place of neutral fan, just an observant of the sport. Okay? Talk to a diehard fan in Pittsburgh. Talk to a diehard Oakland A's or wherever they're at fan. Talk to a diehard Padres fan. Do you think they're really sitting there saying how they're excited that the Dodgers and Yankees and whoever else are the teams that are the big spenders and their teams aren't able to spend like those other teams? No. It's a ridiculous argument because you have to look at it from a fan's perspective. And Colin is not looking at it from a fan's perspective. He's looking at it from his perspective of being just an innocent bystander of the sport and just looking at it from 30,000-foot lenses. I just like baseball.
Yeah, exactly, because he's not there day in and day out. He's there to be like, oh, look, the Dodgers are in the postseason. That's good for the sport.
Yeah.
Oh, the Dodgers landed Hiroki Sasaki. That's awesome. LA's a big market. Oh, Shohei, he's going to thrive here because there's so many eyeballs. You're right. He doesn't watch it the way that, I don't know, normal baseball fans consume it. I don't know. I mean, I don't really have a good feel for it. I don't think I turn to Colin necessarily for like my baseball content.
No, it's funny. He goes, yeah, I just didn't talk baseball for 15 years, but guess what? Now I like talking baseball because the big markets have the big stars. Okay. You do realize that baseball is the most regionalized sport of all the major sports, correct? So stop trying to view it like football. It's not going to be like football ever. Nobody is sitting there waiting to see what the Pittsburgh Pirates do every day, except for Pittsburgh Pirates fans.
Right.
Same thing with the San Diego Padres or the Marlins or the Giants. Like, yes, eventually later in the season, you care about what the other teams are doing because of playoffs and seeding and standings and stuff. But on a day in and day out basis, It's about regionalized fans. It's not a sport that is ever going to be on the national talking stage like Colin is trying to express it right now. Sorry.
I agree. Completely agree. By the way, did you realize, looking at the Padres game notes for today, as if I'm calling the game, but I'm not.
Okay.
Did you realize last year was the second most wins in franchise history?
Yes, I did.
Isn't that crazy, though?
Yes, it is.
Both things could be true. Like 93, which is, don't get me wrong, that's a good year. 93 wins is a good year, but second most in the history of the franchise. The only year they won more was 1998 when they won 98. So, I mean, that's crazy how good they were. And I do think that, again, what all the Dodgers have said all offseason, no, once we beat the Padres, we knew we were going to win the World Series because the Padres are the best team in baseball. I mean, I don't know. I think that's kind of like a fake narrative. Like, it's easy to say that. It's good with revisionist history. But, you know, I mean, maybe it is true. The way the Padres were playing last year with those 93 wins, the way they played in the second half of the year, yeah, I mean, they were as good as anyone, I guess, other than the Dodgers. You could make that case, certainly.
Have we given our official predictions for...
We have like 30 times. But we can do it again. And we're going to probably change whatever we've said the other 29 times.
That is probably...
But we definitely did it like this week. So what's your prediction? Because you've already done it. I think you said, what, 88, 89?
I'll say 80...
Someone's got to write it down.
I'll go 88 wins.
Let's just make a prediction every day of the season.
Yeah, we'll based on how they're playing.
Here's what I'm going to do. You say 88 wins?
Yeah.
I can say 88 wins. What do you think about that? So we'll either both be right or we'll both be wrong.
Do you really think 88 wins? Or are you just saying that?
I think I said before like 86 or 87. I mean, it's 80s. The over-under, by the way, to start the year is 85.5. At ESPN Bet, 85.5.
I think over. I do.
Yeah, I'll take the over on that, but I'll say somewhere in the mid to upper 80s.
So 88 and 74, huh?
That's what we're going to go with. That's the Jon and Jim show.
All right, I'll put it down here.
Write it down. What did it take to get to the postseason last year? Wasn't it like 90 wins?
It was 90 wins, yeah.
So 88 could be on the outside.
I mean, it could, but, you know.
But the year before was like you needed like 83 wins to get in.
Yeah.
Remember, because Arizona got to the World Series.
84.
Is that what it was the year before?
Yeah. So put in the people on YouTube, put in the chat. What is your prediction for the Padres win total this year? I say 88. John says 88. We got JD's third says 89. So yeah, put your prediction in the chat, and we'll look over those here during the break. So
we can also get to some of your texts, by the way. 70470. You can start it with the word team. 70470. Start it with the word team. And Brian Dutcher, if you missed him with us earlier this week, we'll share that conversation with you coming up around 1:30 this afternoon. By the way, Jake Zivin, MLS Season Pass, will get us ready for San Diego FC and LAFC. He'll join us tomorrow on the show at 3:30. Also, Kevin Acey will join us on the show tomorrow as well. What do you think the Ace man's been writing about here today before the game?
Just how great this team is.
He said he stayed away yesterday. When you were here at workout day, you didn't see Acey because he needed a day off.
I didn't see Kevin. I didn't see Dennis. But at the same time, there was no need for them to be there yesterday.
There wasn't much news out of yesterday other than, hey, look, we have nachos.
Yeah, they did not need to be there. Nothing new was said. It was all about, hey, who can post the stuff on X and Instagram faster.
Who was the one to originate the fake news $49 nacho story? Was that you?
That was not me.
Okay. I was wondering if that was you.
I didn't do that.
Because like Grupner spoke out about that strongly.
I thought it was hilarious. Tell me if you agree. When that was brought up to him and he denied it and said that is 100% false.
They're just $17.99.
That what? $17.99?
Well, here's the thing. That's the tri-tip.
The tri-tip.
Because they do have nachos. I think you said it yesterday. There's like $9 nachos.
Right.
Or $10 nachos.
It was so funny. I'm like, oh, so $17.99? Okay.
Oh, what a deal.
That's an amazing deal.
Nice.
That's
$18
great.
nachos.
Awesome.
They're not $50. They're $40.
Like, wait, what?
I thought that was so fun. And then the other big controversy, again, this is how you know it's a slow off season when the big controversy is, are they still vending food? Are they still going to have vendors walking up and down the aisles? And he said, yes, we still have vendors. Yes, we still have nachos that are not $49.
Yeah, that's great. But still they're $20 and whatnot. So,
but tri-tip, right? That's
tri-tip nachos,
special.
dude.
It's special.
Yeah, it's special. It's good.
All right, we're with you until 2 p.m. So we'll have you covered here as this Padres game's getting underway, as the season is getting underway. I'm looking at photos from inside Petco Park, and it looks basically filled up about 15 minutes before first pitch. It is a beautiful day here downtown. The skies have cleared, blue skies overhead, right around 68 or so degrees for the Padres and the Braves here this afternoon. All right, we'll take a time out. We've got a whole nother hour for you. We're at Sidebar 6th and Market. You'll hear from Brian Dutcher coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Jon and Jim continues after this break right here on San Diego Sports 760.
All right, we are moments away from first pitch at Petco Park. Braves and Padres. Michael King on the mound for the Padres against Chris Sale for the Braves. The lineup today for the Padres reads as this. Fernando Tatis Jr. will be leading off, followed by Luis Arraez, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Jackson Merrill, Yuli Gurriel, Jake Cronenworth, Brandon Lockridge, Elias Diaz, and, of course, Michael King on the mound. This update's been brought to you by Progressive.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of Jon and Jim special edition with you from Sidebar, 6th and Market on this sunny day in San Diego to kick off the 2025 baseball season. Padres and Atlanta Braves opening day. You'll have the opening day player introductions. When I was walking here a couple of hours ago, when I looked inside Petco Park, you see the bunting that is up around the ballpark. Bunting to me screams one of two things, either the postseason or opening day. And Tyler Wade's not here, so I don't mean that kind of bunting. I mean the bunting that is in the ballpark.
The bunting of
red,
Tyler
white,
Wade.
blue bunting that is in the ballpark.
Speaking of Wadey,
yeah.
So him and Eggy Rosario got DFA'd.
Yeah, but they cleared, right?
They cleared, but they're still trying to look to trade Eggy Rosario. Not a big fan of that.
So what's the update there? Where'd you see this? So they clear waivers, but they're trying to move Rosario?
AJ Preller spoke to the media in the dugout. I know it's kind of crazy here. It's hard to see. But he spoke today about they're still looking to potentially trade Eggy Rosario.
Is he just positionally blocked everywhere?
Probably, and I don't care. I think his bat is a better option than like Yuli Gurriel.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be trading him yet. I might want to see how the first 6-8 weeks of the season turn out before I move a guy that actually his one tool has been his bat.
And he hits lefties really well.
Right, and it doesn't appear as if their bench is going to be the 27 Yankees.
I don't think
the
so.
The bench, what it might be lacking is the ability to hit. They might have some guys that can run, field positions, but in terms of hitting, Eggy's been like a guy that can hit. Now, for whatever reason, he's just never broken through here.
No, but he did hit lefties really well last year. So to me, I'm kind of thinking to myself, all right, would I want Eggy Rosario on this team or would I want Yuli Gurriel on this team? Because I feel like those are like kind of the players that are competing for the one spot. To me, I would much rather have Eggy Rosario. Now, again, I could be completely proven wrong today, and Yuli Gurriel goes 2 for 4 with the 3-run home run.
And that's one game.
And it's one game, but over the course of a season, I don't know. I think I would choose an Eggy Rosario over a 40-year-old Yuli Gurriel, and hopefully I say hi, I'm an idiot.
So where is Wade going to be in AAA? Because he cleared waivers. Are they going to FaceTime him and Schulte before the games?
I miss you, buddy. I wish you were here.
Direct line of communication between Wade and Schulte before the games?
No, I don't think so. Do you think they have like text each other?
What else did Preller say today? Because we've been on the air, I think, when he spoke.
Yeah.
Did he say anything else? You know,
nothing of substance.
No, okay,
that's all I saw.
I'm still a little curious about
too, but
I was a little curious about how they chose Hart and Vasquez over like Stephen Kolek, but whatever. Like you said earlier, because you said they used 8 starters last year, they're going to use 8 starters this year, which means if Stephen Kolek is healthy, he's going to get an opportunity at some point.
It's kind of like whatever,
right?
To me, I would have picked Stephen Kolek to be on this opening day roster in this rotation, but it seems like they're going to be stretching him out down in the minors, and I predict that he'll make a start within the first month of this season at the big league level. I actually kind of hope that I do see him at the big league level, but then you're also saying, well, if you do see him, that means guys like Randy Vasquez and Kyle Hart aren't performing. But I think they're going to need all hands on deck in this rotation, and the depth of this rotation is going to be tested for sure. But hopefully the Darvish injury isn't too bad, because if it is, then you're going to be putting a lot of pressure on guys like Hart and Vasquez and Kolek, and maybe Waldron when he gets healthy off of his oblique.
This is the time of year where I have to remember how to log into Padres.tv.
Oh, yeah, it's right.
You know, it's like, wait, do they? And I noticed on my credit card bill, they automatically renewed me already.
Yeah.
So, again, it's Padres.tv. National Anthem's going on right now. Petco, of course, is sold out. Is that a flyover we hear right now?
That is a flyover.
Flyover going on right now. So it's like officially official, Jim. This is like Facebook official. They're going to be playing baseball here today.
That's right. Yeah.
They've got the large flag unfurled. I think it's the only time you use the word unfurled. Oh, look at those. They're the choppers.
Oh, Joppas
heading over Petco Park. So
yeah.
just a few moments away, again, from the Padres and the Braves. Any predictions here for today, how it's going to play out? I think King will be really good. I think Sale will be really good. I think it'll be low scoring, and I hope the Padres scratch across enough runs to win by 1 or 2.
It's opening day. I'm just excited the baseball's back, really. I'm not like trying
You
to
don't care
look.
if
I'm
they
not. I'm not looking at this game and breaking it down in depth of like, oh, they got to make sure to get this guy out of the game. Or I mean, yes, getting Chris Sale out of the game is important, but like, oh, this matchup and this matchup, it's opening day. The start of a long 6 months begins in literally 5 minutes, and the ups and downs, the roller coaster of the baseball season. The highs and lows, the one day everything's great, the next day everything's awful. Living and dying with every win and loss, and literally your mood being dependent on if the Padres win or lose. Think about this. If the Padres do win 88 games this year, for the next 6 months, there will be 88 days where you're like happy, and then there'll be 74 days where you're not happy.
Good
if you're
job
a
with the
Padres
math.
fan.
Yeah.
That's just how this sport works. And it's ridiculous how it works, because it is, like I said, you are happy for 88 days and you're upset and sad for 74 days, right? If your team sucks, then you're sad for way longer, right? Or so it's just a grind of a season. It's a grind to get through it, and it all starts right now.
Did you see already the graphics circulating on social media? The White Sox have been eliminated from postseason contention.
That, yeah.
By the way, there are people that have chimed in on the text line saying that there have been issues throughout the course of the day, and I've seen this on social as well with MLB.tv. And I was experiencing those a moment ago trying to log in to watch the Padres. So let us know if you can log into your Padres.tv account if you are watching here today. 70470. Start it with the word team.
Now, who threw at the first pitch? I'm seeing Trevor Hoffman.
Yeah, it looks like Trevor Hoffman. And he was wearing Navy like I'm wearing Navy. Well, he's got the 98 on.
Well, because they made the World Series in 98 and he was on that team, John.
Well, yeah, but I've seen him in brown too.
Yeah, but he never wore the brown.
Yes, but he's worn it at Petco.
Okay.
Is it an anniversary of the 98 season? It is. It's the anniversary, Jim. It's the 27th anniversary of opening day 1998. So that's why they have all the bobbleheads.
Yeah. Who's catching the first pitch? Who's that? I can't see.
I have no idea.
I can't see from this angle. But anyway, Trevor, great choice.
We speculate on that. I said yesterday, Trevor Hoffman. You can't go wrong with Trevor.
No, you never go wrong with Trevor. Especially you play some Hell's Bells. Get that place going.
Yeah, get it going.
Get the rally towel. Place is packed. It honestly looks like, oh, I know why it's Trevor. We're idiots. It's against the Braves. What happened in 98?
There you go.
Yeah,
sure. That's how they got the World Series.
That's why.
No, we're not idiots. We said it. We predicted it.
No, but putting two and two together, that's why I'm an idiot. And why they're wearing the blue? Because they eliminated the Braves on the road in Atlanta wearing those jerseys. Makes sense.
Game 6?
Yes. Yeah. So for opening day, it makes sense.
It makes a ton of sense. It makes a ton of sense. All right, here's what we're going to do, because we've got a lengthy conversation with Brian Dutcher from earlier this week that we'll share with you on the other side. Mm-hmm. So we'll take a quick break here. And when we come back, again, if you missed it earlier this week, are we going to do that here?
No.
Or you want to do it? Say that again, Sammy?
Okay. Coming up next, we're going to hear, I've been doing a special feature on Ted Leitner across both stations.
I love that.
So coming up next, we're going to hear a little special feature regarding Ted and his broadcasting legacy. And then coming up at the bottom of the hour, we're going to hear from Brian Dutcher. We had him on earlier in the week. It's a great interview, great insight, great discussion. If you're an Aztec fan, it will definitely make you feel more comfortable with everything that's gone on with this team the last couple of weeks. And then, of course, we're going to wrap this thing up and get you into Padres baseball.
All right, so Teddy Leitner, a feature that Jim has been working on. You'll hear that on the other side. Plus, you'll hear from Brian Dutcher coming up later this hour. Padres and Braves moments away from getting underway. It's Jon and Jim. Let's talk about this for a minute. Profile. All right, with you until 2 p.m. Opening day underway. Padres and Braves from a packed Petco on this sunny day, where Jurickson Profar not only reached base to lead off this game for Atlanta, he also got a standing ovation from the Padres faithful in his return as an Atlanta Brave. So Profar in San Diego, as he has spent so much time over the last 4 or 5 years, and leading off, I believe, with a single. I looked over. I believe he's singled, but he's on first with nobody out in the top of the first inning.
100% deserved. 100%.
Ovation. Yeah.
I'm giving him a standing ovation right now. He was one of the most crucial pieces to last year's team. I feel like he's one of the most beloved Padres in recent memory.
I agree. Recently, yeah.
The whole notion of like, Profar had one good year. Actually, it wasn't just one good year for the one good year people out there. Every year he was in a Padres uniform, besides, I think, 2023 when everybody sucked, he produced. He wasn't in a Padres uniform in 2023.
Well, he was at the end of the year.
End of the year he was, yeah. So, yeah, every year, 2020, okay? 2022 he produced. 2023 when he came back, the team won 17 in a row.
Yeah, exactly, in September.
And then you got last year's team, he was an all-star. When he was in a Padres uniform, he produced. So I don't care what he did the rest of his career. I know that when he played here, put on that uniform, he was really good for this team.
Yeah, my thoughts here is like just show this guy the respect that he deserves, and they did.
Yeah,
like he
absolutely
deserves the respect and admiration of Padres fans. Really, if it is only about 2024 in your mind, well, that's good enough for me. It's the second most wins they ever had.
Yeah.
A great year. And so did he. He was a reason why they had a great year.
Yeah.
He deserves the admiration and respect that he got here today at Petco. Set up this Ted Leitner. You put together a piece on Teddy's retirement.
I did.
And it's been airing across the iHeart stations.
Yeah. So for the last week, I have been putting together a 5-part series on Ted.
I love that.
And we had Ted on our station a couple weeks ago. And so here is part 4 of our 5-part
Well, hold on, Tom. Where's parts 1, 2, and 3? I want to hear all the parts.
Well, they played early on the station. They didn't play on our show, John. So
I want all the parts.
So this is not our usual time slot, right?
Okay.
So it usually played in a time slot that we didn't occupy.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So here is Ted on some of his most favorite players to cover and call games for here in San Diego.
Continuing with our series on the voice of San Diego, Ted Leitner. Over the years, he has called games for some of the giants in the sporting world, especially here in San Diego, from Tony Gwynn to Junior Seau, Trevor Hoffman, Kawhi Leonard, to just name a few. I asked Ted who was his favorite San Diego athlete to call games for in his career. Here's what he had to say.
That's a great question. And it has, for me, been Anthony Keith Gwynn. So I met Tony with Aztec basketball, young, incredible athlete, still, as you know, John, holds the all-time assist record to this day in Aztec history. A wonderful, wonderful player who knew and told me many times he could play in the NBA after the Clippers had drafted him, but he went to baseball, and the rest, as they say, is history. So my association with Tony starting in the late 70s is something I cherish, and knowing his family and his brothers, and Alicia and now the kids, has just been a gift to me. Junior Seau is right up there. Junior was a force of nature. He was not just physically, but his competence and his ability and his personality, and a kid who comes back to his community and plays here after going to USC was just a great, great story with a bad, bad ending. I miss Tiaina so much all the time that it's one of those things like with Tony that I cannot believe that he's gone. I just can't. Someone asked me today about, I had a lunch with a bunch of former sports writers and broadcasters, and that came up about your favorite guy. And I saw him at an Aztec game, I think 2 games ago, whatever, at home, and that's Ralph Bernushka, who was the great kicker for the Chargers, who was as nice a man, as involved in the community as you could ever see. And to show you what kind of person he was, he and his wife went to Russia to adopt a couple of children. And the Russians jerked them around, as I remember the story, that they couldn't leave unless they took this other physically challenged or mentally challenged child also. And of course they said, yes, we'll take him and we'll raise him. And they did. That's the Ralph Bernershka that I knew and was privileged to know. And Dr. Bernershka, his father, among the many, many here. And there are so many of them. There's just an incredible number that I've gotten to know. X-Fames was just a great human being and a great player who actually outplayed the scouting report when he came from Washington State. So I hold him near and dear to my heart. And you know what? More easily to remember because it's so recently, Jaden Ledee. I mean, if you had a son like Jaden Ledee, you'd be one proud father.
As you can tell, Ted has called some games for some sporting legends in this city. I'm Jim Russell with San Diego Sports 760.
What'd you think of that, John?
Oh, my God. You are like Johnny Feature. Like, you should be doing way more of those.
Well,
I want to feature a day. No, 5. A 5-part series. Let me talk to Mary.
No, please don't.
Mary, are you listening?
Please don't put that in the ether.
I'm kidding. Now, I will say this. I thought it was very good, but I want to transition back to the Padres for a moment, which Ted called for 40 years.
Is the season already over?
I don't want to say that the season is on the line in the top of the first inning of the first game, but I'm going to say it. Because Atlanta has loaded the bases with 1 out. We've already had a Ruben Niebla visit. And Ozzie Albies is at the plate with the bases loaded and 1 out in a scoreless game in the top of the first inning. I ask you this. Is the season on the line in the top of the first inning at 1:15?
One could say this is the biggest at bat of the season right now.
I think it is of the season. It's kind of just fun to watch baseball again, truthfully.
Well, it's not watch baseball. And then
I'm just going to watch it.
Just watch it, yeah.
Yeah, this is good radio. Let me just watch this game.
Yeah.
All right, so Padres and Braves are underway. Really nice job there with Teddy. Really not. No, I just talked to Sammy on when we were going to break.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't listening.
Yeah, I know you weren't.
My bad.
But we have a lengthy conversation with Brian Dutcher that we'll play with you coming up in the next 5 or 10 minutes. This was from earlier in the week, and you said it well earlier, which is if you're an Aztec fan and you're worried about the transfer portal, I think that Dutch will put you at least at ease if you missed him earlier this week.
I agree with that. I went back and I listened to the interview, and I felt the same way as I did after hearing it the first time after talking to him. Is that, man, this guy is just so calm, cool, and collected, and he definitely is the right person to be leading this program. And if you have doubts on this program, I don't think you really should. I mean, yes, everybody is going to have questions, but Dutch has proven time and time again that he can put together a winning team year in and year out. And so it's literally trust the process. It is a trust the process type of thing.
I'm feeling a ground ball double play based on the bar across the street. Bases loaded, 1 out, and I was right. Michael King gets out of a jam with a ground ball double play. I just felt it. Based on watching the TV across the street.
Is that a season-saving double play?
Yeah, when you throw 25 pitches or whatever he threw in the first inning and you get out of it like that. Yeah, it is. All right, we'll hear from Dutch on the other side. We're at Sidebar downtown. Opening day underway for the Padres in a scoreless game. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Progressive. We're underway at Petco Park. We're heading to the bottom of the first inning. Braves have jumped out to an early 1-0 lead. Michael King threw a million pitches in that top of the first for the Padres. And this update's been brought to you by Progressive.
All right, we're going to hear from Brian Dutcher in a moment. We had Dutch on the show earlier in the week, and we'll talk all about San Diego State basketball as it enters the transfer portal and the offseason. But when we went to break, it was scoreless.
We did.
But then when we came back from break, it's 1-0. But it was scoreless going to the bottom of the first inning. So how is it 1-0 Atlanta if they didn't score in the top of the first inning?
Because there was a challenge that got overturned, run scored, not any double play. So then Michael King got to go out there and throw a couple more pitches.
Through 26 first inning pitches, Michael King, 1-0. That's a big number.
Not what you want to see on opening day in the first inning of the year. But
no doubt about it.
But he was like this last year in Seoul, Korea. He started out slow, and then he, turned it on there as the season went on. So maybe this is just like a slow start thing for King. I don't have any concerns, but top of the first there, walking a couple. This will be a bullpen day for the Padres pretty soon. Yeah.
Can they overcome a deficit of this size, one run?
Yes, John.
We'll find out if they can.
Yeah.
All right. We had Dutch with us 2 days ago. Great conversation if you missed it. We started the conversation asking Brian Dutcher all about the first week of the offseason, from Dayton to the portal opening to the news from Magoon Guath and Nick Boyd. Take a listen.
Thanks, John, for having me. It's the new normal, and you can't overreact to it. You got to know that it's happening to every team everywhere in the country. And the Mountain West is not exempt to it. Nick Davidson in the portal, Donovan Dent in Washington from New Mexico in the portal, Boyd and Guath in the portal. It's what it is. The starting point guard from North Carolina, who we just played in the portal. And as soon as these Sweet 16 teams are done, they'll have kids in the portal. And so is it ideal for college basketball? No, probably not. But is it what is normal at this time? Yes, it is.
I wanted to ask about Nick Boyd. We had Nick on our show multiple times this year, Dutch, and I remember we had him on before your guys' run in March Madness, where I asked him, are you going to return next year? What's your thinking? And a lot of times it was kind of down the path of he was returning. Like there was a lot of wheeze when Nick Boyd was talking about with his decision for next year, staying here with the Aztecs. And he even mentioned at his press conference at in Dayton that, we'll be back. And so when he came to you and he said he was entering the transfer portal, at any point, did you feel a little misled by Nick or surprised, or what was your first initial reaction when Nick said he was entering the portal to you?
I've been doing it long enough where nothing surprises me.
Mm-hmm.
I was intending to have Nick back next year. I thought he would be back. But when all of a sudden you have a chance to maybe make more money playing basketball in 1 year than you will the rest of your career, then you say, well, okay, I understand why he may have left. So it had nothing to do with their culture, nothing to do with him loving San Diego State. But financially, he may not be able to play for this amount of money the rest of his career. And so he has a number that he thinks he's going to get. Obviously, people had been monitoring it. And when the season ended, they brought him some numbers, and he obviously felt they were too good to turn down.
Brian Dutcher, head coach of the Aztecs, with us right now on Jon and Jim. We'll get into the dollars and cents of this world that we're in with portal and NIL and the matching campaign going on with Mesa as well. I mentioned the fact that you kind of go from coach to GM, and you've touched on that. Are we at a point, and we've seen it in college athletics, we've seen it in basketball. I think Sean Lewis just hired a GM in football. Are we at a point where a general manager is becoming a prerequisite or a necessity for a program or not?
I think the finances are more important than the general manager.
Mm-hmm.
Let me be the GM of the Dodgers, and I'll find a way to put a team together. The GM is important, but you got to have some finances to get it done. But that's not everything, John. I try to tell people, just because some of these guys run around in the NBA and they got NBA logos, doesn't mean they know a player if you bit them in the butt. at some level, you still have to evaluate talent. You have to put a team together. You have to put a culture together in order to win. And so I think we're good at all those things. I have a coaching staff that knows how to evaluate talent, that knows how to put a team together. Once we get them here, we know what it takes to win. And the rosters are just flipping more often than we're used to. But everybody's dealing with it, and I think we've dealt with it pretty well. A year ago, we lost 92% of our scoring, 90% of our minutes, and yet we're in the NCAA tournament again. And so we're good at what we do. Do we like it all the time? No, absolutely not. But are we good at it? Yes, we are.
Do you feel like it's gotten a little bit out of hand here with the NIL and the portal?
I think players are deserving of some of the money they're getting. Do I think it's exorbitant and too much? Yes. And that's why some of these lawsuits are working their way through. I think there'll be some leveling, some, I don't know if you would say salary cap, but some type of salary cap that'll be put into place where we're just not throwing enormous sums of money at everybody, And it's like the portal. The first week, everybody in the portal thinks they're going to get this dollar figure. And guys that panic overpay some of these guys. And then all of a sudden next week will go by and the dollars will drop. And then at the end, if you don't have a roster, the dollars will go up again. And so there's even a cycle to this. Everybody thinks they're going to get a certain amount of money. Everybody in the portal thinks they're going to get a scholarship. But at the end of the day, there'll be 20% of them that have given up a scholarship and get nothing. And so there's a gamble involved with it too.
That's a really interesting point. Brian Dutcher with us right now in the home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. I'm sure you have a feel for the remainder of your roster that you currently have, but do you truly know until the portal closes? And how do you address needs while the portal is open?
Yeah, we're evaluating every day. We're watching tape on 800 kids. We know what our needs are. I feel like I've already got a kid added. I don't want to say anything yet. I got another kid visiting, and so we're proactive. We're working, and so things have to happen. We have to continue to evaluate the pieces we need. I feel as if the rest of the team, as we sit here now, is intact. But I'm not naive enough to know that they're not getting calls and getting feelers all the time as to if this was available, would you leave? And so even though they're not in the portal, I know that there's poaching going on with every school in the country.
When Magoon Gwath told you that he was entering the portal, was that something that you were bracing for already?
We had a feeling it could happen, but with that being said, I still feel like Magoon loves San Diego State, and if the finances were equal, would remain at San Diego State. But there are things that work all the time. You're making decisions not only for yourself, but your family, and he wanted to go out there and see what was available to him.
Brian Dutcher with us right now on Jon and Jim. Dutch, I feel like when you get into off seasons, you obviously look back at a season and see what went well and areas you would improve in, but you typically don't overreact to any one game, right? Like you look at your result against UNC a week ago tonight in Dayton. How much of your off season is about addressing what happened in Dayton as opposed to just putting your team together and getting yourself in a position to get back to the NCAA tournament?
No, we're going to use that as motivation for next year. That we had a wonderful year. We had a bad finish to a wonderful year, to replace what we replaced and win 21 games and make it to the NCAA tournament. Teams go for years and don't go to the NCAA tournament, decades and don't go.
Yeah.
And these are good teams. And there are teams that have national championship banners hanging in the arenas that can't make the field. And so we don't want to be naive enough to know that what we're doing is not easy. It's hard. And we take great pride in what we're doing at San Diego State. But we also know that having played for a national championship, that has to be the goal. And we can't have the kind of season. And the comment I made is, we stumbled a lot of games this year where we got down to San Jose and to Wyoming. But North Carolina is not San Jose or Wyoming. That we have to hold ourselves to a higher standard. We can't get down in games that we're capable of playing better in. And when we play a team that we get down to that's really good, then we can't fight our way back, even as hard as we fight. And so there are always are lessons to be learned, especially with the young team we had last year. So we'll use that game against North Carolina as motivation, as fuel to get us ready for the following year.
Dutch, I don't know if you saw this take, probably not, but the take of the NIL is killing the Cinderella. Now, me and John don't view San Diego State as a mid-major. You guys always try to strive to be better than and also be consistently in the tournament every single year. But what do you make of that take that the NIL is killing the Cinderella in March Madness?
I don't think so. I don't feel as if we put the team together we want to put together, continue to work hard, that we will have a chance to advance in that tournament again. And if you believe otherwise, it'll never happen. So I believe we can do it. And we're not replacing an entire roster. You look at a Drake, the year they replaced an entire roster.
Right.
An entire roster. And then you take encouragement from Colorado State, New Mexico, advancing past the first round and actually having a chance in their second game to advance. And so the Mountain West is a good basketball conference, and San Diego State is a good basketball team.
Dutch, I've had a lot of people on social media ask me this, and I feel as if this has been short-sighted, but I want to hear from you. People have said, is San Diego State going to change its recruiting strategy with prep players, high school players, because someone like Magoon Guath only spent 1 year playing for you? Now, you redshirted him, and then, of course, he was on the floor for one season. But does one player like Magoon entering the portal change any type of philosophy for you when it comes to high school recruiting or not?
No. I mean, we're going to recruit the best players that we think fit our style of play, that are about the right things, that want to win, that want to develop, that want to get better. Those are the kind of kids we've won with. And so, and that people have to understand too, we have players in our program right now that could leave in a heartbeat for more money, but they choose to remain here because they love it here. They love the culture. They love the coaching. And they think at the end, this is a better choice to stay, even though there is more money out there for them. So don't get soured that everybody just chases money. We all know that's not the case, and that's with adults too. Sometimes we have opportunities to take jobs for more money, but we love where we are. We love what we're doing, and sometimes all that money does not equate happiness or future prospects for yourself.
Reese Waters obviously didn't play this season, but he has stated that he will be returning next year. How nice is it knowing that, you have a guy like Reese who can get a bucket at any moment for you, returning next year as a foundation for next year's team?
Yeah, we've got a good base coming back. Mm-hmm. And so we're just looking to add a piece or two, So some of the, it's a year ago. Let's just use Washington as an example. They get the player of the year from the Mountain West to transfer to Washington with Sprinkle. They pay him an exorbitant amount of money, and they finish in last place. So money does not equate success. And so at some level, you have to put a team together. Now, I'm not saying that Washington is not going to put a team together. Obviously, Sprinkle's a good coach, but it's not one piece. It's multiple pieces. It's not one player. You have to have a team. And so this is not an individual sport. And so if we lose a player, that we'd like to have. We'd like to have in the program, but this is a team sport. And we just feel we will put enough pieces together to have another competitive basketball team at San Diego State that aspires to greatness.
Dutch, can you speak on the importance of the collective? To your point, there's programs out there that might have been top 5 in NIL spending that didn't make the NCAA tournament. I'm not sure if Washington would qualify, but Indiana wasn't in the NCAA tournament. Kansas State spent a lot in NIL. They were not in the NCAA tournament. There's no assurance that by spending you're going to win, but obviously the dollars do matter to some extent. Mesa has this matching campaign going on right now, I think through the end of the month. For our listeners that aren't aware with it, that don't understand the complexities of it, how important is that matching campaign for retaining this roster and adding to it for next year?
It's everything. It's everything. We have to be competitive financially. And then you have to trust we're going to make the right decisions, that we are not going to spoil our roster, that we want kids that are about the right things. And the last thing we talk about is NIL money. We talk about fit, talk about culture. And if all those match, now we can talk about NIL money. But we can't do it with no NIL money. We have to continue to raise and try to be competitive. And it's harder. The Power 4 conferences have more than we have. That doesn't mean their fan bases are more passionate, that their facilities are better, but they have more TV money, they have more donor money, and we have to stay competitive. We can't do it for free. So we know we're not going to ever have as much as some of them, but we have to have enough where they trust in us to put a really good team together that will beat those teams because of the work we do and the finances we do have.
Final one for me, Dutch. Usually when a player enters the portal, more often than not, that player is gone. And rarely do you see players entering the portal returning back to the team that they just entered the portal from. Would there be a situation where you would welcome back players that have entered the portal for you, or how do you view that?
Yeah, absolutely. But it can't be a long timeline. It can't be like a month from now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because if we're doing our job, a month from now, we've already secured our roster. We've given out whatever money that player might have got to other people. And so, yes, there's always an opportunity to return to the program. But it can't be a decision that lingers for a month or more, because financially, we don't have a bottomless pit of money to wait for a player. So obviously I would love to have that, but we don't. So any money people give to help us retain players, to help us be able to wait on players is immeasurably important.
Again, matching campaign going on right now at mesa-aztecs.org. That's mesa-aztecs.org. Just, Dutch, while we have you briefly on your current roster, when does the work begin? Like that development process? Obviously, you get back on the floor as a team in July. It's amazing how this has essentially become a year-round sport. But what is the work that goes on from this point until you get back on the floor as a team for some of these players? Because you got this younger unit where you played 6 out of maybe 9 or 10 players in your rotation that were underclassmen. What type of development goes on now before you get back on the floor in July?
Yeah, we're shut down for a while, John, because let them rest their legs, get their minds fresh. They go on spring break Friday, the university does. So they'll get away for a week, and then we'll get them back, and we'll slowly start getting them back in the weight room, get them individual workouts, and start building next year's team. And we have a hungry bunch. And so they're excited to compete for a Mountain West title, to qualify for another NCAA tournament, and make that deep run that we've all become spoiled with here at San Diego State.
No doubt about it. Have you had time to be a grandfather again? Because I know you just welcomed a 3rd grandchild. Obviously, Aaron and Grayson having another child. So congratulations in order. Have you had time to do that? Or are you watching film with your grandchildren?
Well, I'm watching a Disney Channel with my grandchildren, but when they're sleeping or not around, I'm watching film. So
I love it.
This portal never ends. And so we are doing a good job. Trust me. We have pieces that we're pursuing, some that I feel like we have in place already, but have to do a little crossing the T's, dotting of the I's. But we are building a team that everyone's going to get behind and be excited about. Nobody wants to see a player leave, but it's like I said, you have to just get over it. You have to move forward. If I sat there and cried about it, I wouldn't be doing my job to help build a team for next year. And that's what I'm here to do with my coaching staff. We are building a team for next year.
And again, you can help mesa-aztecs.org. That matching campaign going on now through the end of March. Dutch, we appreciate you taking time for us. Get back to the film and the grandkids and the roster.
Get back to the Disney Channel.
Yeah, get back to the Disney Channel. We'll do it again soon.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
All right, we're going to react to that. On the other side, stay with us. It's Jon and Jim. All right, well, we can react to it right now, Jim. It is the other side. That was Brian Dutcher from earlier in the week. We're downtown at Sidebar. We will take a timeout, and what we'll react to on the other side is Jackson Merrill.
Yes.
We will have a Jackson Merrill conversation from now until 2 p.m. with Jon and Jim. Final time, sidebar, downtown, sunny day, baseball underway. Padres and Braves at San Diego with the early 2-1 lead thanks to Jackson Merrill off Chris Sale, lefty on lefty with 2 outs and 2 strikes, Jim. He takes a breaking pitch off the plate and singles into center field, and that allows us to renew the conversation about extending Jackson Merrill every single day from here on out. But Jackson Merrill, clutch last year, clutch again to start 2025.
Yeah, he's a superstar. He's a stud.
He's a stud.
I mean, the guy is the way that he goes about his business at such a young age, the way that he looks like a 10-year vet at the plate.
Yep.
I mean, they hit the absolute jackpot with this guy. Absolute home run. Now, again, it's still early in his career. Things could go sideways, but like a year in, sky's the limit for him, and he is turning into a real cornerstone piece of this franchise. And to our talking point, the last week or so here, because he is now a cornerstone of your franchise, you want to keep him as a cornerstone of your franchise for longer than just the years that you have him under control.
Dude, he's going to have 100 RBIs by the time he turns 22 years of age. He had 90 last year. He's had 2 today. He doesn't turn 22 until April 19th. I mean, this guy has done everything asked of him. The scouting and development here is spot on. To take a kid in the first round out of the state of Maryland when he played like 20 high school games as a senior, and to have this type of rapid development and ascension is it's been brilliant to watch. I mean, it's just, and they're going to ask more of him this year than they asked last year. Now, he exceeded expectations, obviously. He was second in Rookie of the Year last year. He's going to be batting 3rd, 4th, and 5th in this lineup all year long.
He is a huge piece of this team's lineup every single day. He is not a guy that you just put him in the 6th spot or 7th spot and then just say, go, just go out there and play. He is, like you said, he is going to be asked to produce he's in the middle of that lineup, and so far so good. Obviously, it's just one at bat, but
1 year and 1 at bat.
Nothing so far feels like it's changed with Jackson being just a guy that you can rely on to, get a big hit in a big moment, take what the pitcher gives him, and not try to do too much out of his zone, and he did absolutely that in his first at bat today. I just love watching it.
Do you remember what he did in his first ever game in Korea?
Yeah, he went 0-for, and then he got a double.
Yep, 2 hits.
2 hits in his second game.
And then when they came back home, listen to this. So when they had their official opening day, the home opener, he was 0-for-2, and then he came off the bench, was 0-for-1. Then in the next game, he was 0-for-3. And then he got going. But you know what I mean? Like those first couple of games, we had no idea. We had no idea what to expect. Like you said, he had the 2-hit game in Korea. But Jackson Merrill, again, you could make an easy argument for Rookie of the Year. We did. We made that argument a lot.
What about Rookie of the Year this year?
He did say he will use it as motivation.
He did.
While he wasn't obsessing over it, I'm paraphrasing. He said, he'd rather win as a team than win as an individual. He did say he will use it as motivation heading in to this 2025 season, which I think is awesome. Use whatever you want. If it motivates you to win and perform, that's a good sign. But Chris Sale, Michael King underway downtown here in San Diego. We're at sidebar. Padres have the 2-1 lead on opening day in the bottom of the second inning. What a day it's turned out to be. I mean, just a spectacular day, the way it's meant to be down here on opening day. I feel like there have been so many of these over the years. Beautiful days to get the Padres season underway. And here we are underway again, just the first of 162.
Yep. And we'll be back tonight with a wrap-up show, so make sure to be on the lookout for that. And,
anything special on the wrap-up show?
Well, same old. Me and you talk about the Padres.
Special guests or
no special guests.
Features?
No special features.
Sammy Long, thank you. He's been back there all day long. Sammy, good job keeping us somehow, on track on what has been a little bit of a wild day here at Sidebar. We're back tomorrow, 2 p.m., full reaction. Kevin AC on the show tomorrow. Jake Zivin will get us ready for SDFC and LAFC also tomorrow here on Jon and Jim. We'll see you tonight on the wrap-up show. For Mike Usher, our engineer, for Sammy Long in our studio, for Jim Russell, I'm John Schaefer.
Hi, John.
This has been Jon and Jim. Keep it here. This is San Diego Sports 760.
Bye, John.
Bye.